Now the point is that we're going to sort of have a great time. We have great speakers. We have, not me I mean, but the official speakers, including Anna Verhoeven, and she's here to make the commentary, and of course lots of other people, whoever gets in the... And so my Italian colleague who is doing the Italian commentary is now on air, and so I'll wait for him to speak and then sort of so that I can translate him, and I hope, you know, it won't be as being live, but at least, of course, I hope you enjoy it. Last little things being set up. Meanwhile, we also want to welcome you all, even though from the streaming, of course. It's been a very busy morning, and there have been workshops, there have been all sorts of activities. People were blindfolded to pretend they were blind and had to climb guided, as it happened in paraclimbing competitions, and it was, as they said, a very, very enlightening experience. In another corner there was a training session, a lead experience, trad experience, and here are the authors coming in. Of course, this is the moment for the competition. This is all the athletes looking at their lead route. They have 6 minutes, and they are really looking at the wall, and it's going to be very exciting. They had a morning, the athletes had a morning with these, you know, leading these workshops, and it really sort of seems that it's going to be very interesting indeed. So again, welcome from Milan Climbing Expo in the Urban Wall Gym in Milan, as last year. And here we have, you know, the athletes looking at the various moves, looking at the possible, looking for possible beaters. I already see Stefano Ghisolfi, Carnati and Marcello Bombardi, whom you might know. And well, I mean, I think Stefano Ghisolfi doesn't need any introduction, as well as Marcello Bombardi. Of course, Stefano Carnati is a young climber, but he had very good youth results. He was the under-18 youth European champion in Edinburgh 2015. And of course, I must mention the former athlete and commentator for the Italian broadcasting service, Luca Canon Zardini, born in Cortina d'Ampezzo. He will do the event technical comments, and of course he has been a top athlete, and I would say still is, but non-competing, and he's thrilled as well to be part of this event. And we see, I hope you can spot him in the crowd. We have Haibin Q, and then Jörg Verhoeven, and qualified last night we have Giorgio Tomatis and Niccolò Balducci, who qualified, both of them qualified last night. And for the women, Mina Markovic needs no presentation, I think. Laura Rogora, again, she's very young, but she's been in World Cups and has just climbed her third 9A in January on a holiday in Spain. Then Maya Vidmar, Zhang Weitong, Matilde Serra, Francesca Medici, and Sara Caramella. So now we are, very eager to see what will be, what will happen, of course. Of course, remember that the ultimate point here is that in case two athletes reach the same hold, it will be time that the time they took to get to that hold that announces the winner. So again, that might influence a little the style of climbing this route. It's a pretty overhanging route, as I guess you can just see. The first two athletes, Sara Caramella and Niccolò Balducci, will remain straight here because they climb right away. So they're going to climb right away when the minutes are finished for their viewing of the route. And it's going to be fun, I hope, for you too. The audience is pretty warm, as usual in Milano. And so we'll try and sort of be pretty technical if we can, with the limits that the athlete shouldn't hear, of course, what the technical commentator says. The men, as you see, have a yellow route. The ladies have a blue route. As for the yellow route, it was set by Gabriele Moroni, and the blue one by Alberto Niero. Again, an old friend of many climbs. He's not old, I mean, but the style of climbing, you will all know, has changed a lot over the years, because now holds are mostly small volumes, and so now okay, the time is over. Time over for the athletes. And the type of holds has changed a lot, we were saying, and the climbing style is a consequence. And climbing is much more dynamic now, and quick, of course. And this is why competitions have become much quicker, and we hope spectacular for you. Now it's a turn of Sara Caramella for the ladies. As I said, she qualified last night. And now Niccolò Balducci for the boys. He too has qualified last night, and they're getting ready for their performance. They have 6 minutes, and 6 minutes sounds a lot, but it's not, because you have to memorize lots of movements. As for the qualification route, we're talking about 35 movements, and when we get this evening to the final, the routes will be 53 movements for the men. So you have to really memorize all the route, the points from which you clip, the because you don't want to waste energy and compromise your performance. Niccolò Balducci is on the route now in the first section. Usually at the beginning the climber looks pretty relaxed, and at the beginning it is important not to sort of squeeze the holds too much, but rather be dynamic and fluid so as not to waste too much energy, and that's very important. And this is Sara Caramella, and of course it's these athletes coming from the quarter-finals will be a little tense. They're not used to competing with such top athletes, but of course it's also a great opportunity for them. They have to try and find their balance so as to save as much energy as possible. And Sara is actually proceeding. Niccolò is quite high. He's found a little rest point. Of course, you know, he is going through what we call a filter move, meaning a move that might, you know, cause some difficulties, but he still hangs on, and you know, looks like he's still in control. Of course, it's difficult for these athletes, although they have qualified and they have certain standards, to compete in an event where they're competing with top climbers with great experience, with probably even you know, more experience in competition. And here Niccolò just interrupted the movement to go to the next hold, and when the moment he got static, instead of, you know, going up more dynamic, he sort of compromised his final result. But he's been very good at qualifying, very good at coming here and you know, having the guts of participating, let's say so, let's admit it, because sometimes it is difficult for these young and not famous athletes who are at the beginning of their careers, of course, to even, you know, take part in these competitions. Sara, she's got pink cheeks, and she probably feels the same as his sort of colleague we saw before, but she's still coping, she's still, you know, in control. She looks probably a little tired, but still wanting to go up, which she does. And of course it's very important for her. She was telling me she was so thrilled to be in ISO with all these sacred monsters, as she calls them, meaning, you know, really people who are ages, miles away from her, but she really enjoys it. She wanted to be here and deserved this participation because she in fact qualified last night. So here again, she's trying to find the best position to clip, which is very important, again, as we said, not to waste too much energy. And this is the interview with Niccolò Balducci, which we're sorry we can't hear, so we haven't got it in our audio, so we can't translate it. But Sara's still up. She probably needs a bit of cheering, which the audience are doing, because she's really a fighter, and in fact she's really holding with her last energies to climb up, and she's probably a little tired now, but not giving up. She's still trying to, she's not giving up, and of course now the part which is most overhanging, she has really to probably speed up a little, and we see her relentlessly going up, and she's really showing all her courage. Now she's off, but she's been very, very brave, very good, and all the watchers and climbers in the hall are really cheering her with a big round of applause, because she really deserves it. I mean, she's you know, had a final dyno where there was a very flat hold. You see it here, we see the replay, but she couldn't hold it because that hold maybe should have been held with the left hand. But still, I mean, when you're there, you know, in that moment you have to really push with your legs. But she really did a good job, and she's very happy. In fact, she got very high. She's been really very good, but she's looking at the route as if thinking, maybe I could have done a little more. But no, Sarah, I think you've really done a very good job. And right away, the next two athletes, one we see is Francesca Medici, and the next men will be Giorgio Tomatis. So Sarah's going up. Sarah is saying the route was fabulous, and she was very happy. She was very cautious in the first part, and it was very interesting, and of course she preferred the first part of the route because it was more her style. But you have a lot of endurance. You are pretty slow in your climb, but you went up and you were so continuous. Your flow, the flow of your climb was good. I quite agree. When I got to the steepest part, I was pretty happy with my performance. Okay, thank you, Sarah. Now Giorgio Tomatis is now on the wall, and of course Giorgio Tomatis is a very young climber. On rock he's climbed Noia 8C plus, sorry, but he hasn't got a long experience with competition climbing. And Giorgio, you see, has passed the filter, and the left hand really has got to have a lot of grip. Then you clip, and then you have to be very dynamic. You mustn't stop the movement as Nicolò had done before. So he has passed this move, and so we can see the higher part of the route. Here again the clipping is quite awkward. There are two moves, holds that are the same here, and clearly now it is very overhanging, so it is important to really manage to sort of have a lot of balance, because if you lose your feet grip, then it's much harder. Meanwhile, we have Francesca Medici. We saw a glimpse of her. And Francesca was going up. Now Giorgio has fallen, but he's done a really good performance. He's been very, very good, while Francesca continues, but unfortunately barn dooring and she's off. And when the body rotates and you lose your foot grip, then it's pretty hard to move on. We're seeing a replay. You see, she launches with the left hand but loses her left foot, and that's when barn dooring occurs, and that makes it very difficult to continue. But I think Francesca Medici, you know, was still good at qualifying for today. So Anak interviewing Francesca.
Your foot popped? Yeah, I'm tired, but not at all.
Okay, but I hope it will be enough for the next round.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, the interview with Francesca was, as you might have seen, was done by Anak Verhoeven in English. Francesca no English, while Giorgio would rather be interviewed in Italian and says he's pretty satisfied, and he thinks the filter is where he fell. I didn't get there in the condition to overcome the problem, but I'm still satisfied. I didn't see you climb, but so congratulations still. Do you do a lot of competition? Yeah, I do some competitions, but this was an extraordinary competition for me with all these top athletes. Thank you very much to all of you for having me. Okay, so next on the route are Haibin Q from Chinese Republic and Mathilde Becerra. Mathilde doesn't need any introduction. She's been in World Cup competitions for years, and she's really, you know, been in some finals in World Cup, and so we really will follow her climb. Haibin Q knows this wall because he's been training here some times ago, followed by a Italian and a Spanish trainer. So usually Asian athletes have a dynamic kind of climb which suits this modern climbing style, and the good thing is that the Olympic Games will be in Tokyo in 2020, and I bet the Japanese but also the Chinese athletes will really want to participate and, you know, show their value in the event. Now a great cheer of applause, a great round of applause from the public watching really intensely, and of course there's a bunch of great people who watch. They're knowledgeable, most of them are, and they follow the athletes with great attention. The Chinese athletes is finding some difficulties here. These are the first signs that show an athlete might be a little tired. He's trying to shake out after clipping, and now clearly he will try to give his best in the most overhanging route where climbing has to go faster. I see, he's a bit in dire straits, so to speak, while Mathilde continues at her pace. Of course, Mathilde has a longer experience in competitions, although she stopped for a couple of years, but it seems to have come back all of a sudden. No, I'm joking. I know there's a lot of training behind, and she's really very precise in her climbing, and she's reading the route correctly. And right now we go to hiding queue. So great support from the crowd, because he's really very determined, and in fact he now falls, but I think he's given 100%, and he's been really great on the last holes. And so a loud round of applause is cheering him as he comes down. And he looked tired halfway through the wall, but he's found 2 or 3 points to shake out, and he was very effective. And I think he managed to give 100%, to give his best, and really showed us a good performance. And again, a great round of applause. Mathilde, meanwhile, is still at it, finding some difficulties in this pretty awkward move. We all hope she makes it. Come on, Mathilde. There's a big crowd supporting you, and in fact, maybe support sometimes helps. We hope she can get beyond this problem move. She looks a little more shaky. Now she's found a hero hook, but she's wasting a lot of energy. That's a problem. But it is, of course, a hard move, and a great round of applause cheers her passing the difficult filter or section. And she proceeds. She's now found a place to shake out, which is very important. And we hope she can really go high on this route. She's recovered in an amazing way. This is the movement that, stopped the progression of Sara Caramella, and she too had a problem holding it with her right hand. I think the hold is the next on the right, so that you get a two-hand hold. Done in this way, it is more difficult.
So are you happy with your climb?
Oh yeah, it's very happy for the climbing route, and I like the climbing route is so beautiful. The moves, and the moves is hard. I call it a stage or sloper, and you have to be careful to do any moves. And in the first part, I feel it's tired, and in the second part, have the bigger undercleaning. I can little rest, and then after it's a bit move harder moves. Yeah, and in the for the And here is a bigger uncurling, and after the move, the red hand, red hold is slower. Yeah, it's so hard. In the bigger uncurling, I want to make it a quick drill, but I feel it's harder. So I just do the next holds. It's hard more. So I just go and it's a fall. But it's a palm. But it's very, very good at the roots. Yeah.
Wow, so you like the roots. Well done, and I hope to see you in the next round. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so the next two athletes to go, one is Zhang Yutong. Zhang Yutong is from China. She has some experience in competition climbing, of course, and the next athlete to go is Stefano Carnati. Stefano Carnati is well known in Italy, maybe not so famous abroad, but Stefano Carnati is very good at rock climbing. He's climbed Gold Rake, Action Directe, Biographie, and he's now on the wall. But let's follow Zhang Yutong now. She seems a little short on the now she's taken the hold in the best position, which of course is very important, and so you see she can shake out a little. And Stefano Carnati, you can see him now, is climbing his way up. Now, Stefano is one of the great talented young rock climbers. He was a bit contracted at the beginning, but now his rhythm is more fluid. I can see him well. I can see him, more confident. Again, he's now trying to shake out a little, while Zhang Yutong is very determined. She hasn't found major difficulties so far. She too tries to shake out whenever possible, although there are not many proper resting points on the route. There's, of course, great support for the Italian climber who, has just missed the final part and is being lowered down. Good performance for Stefano, I must say. He was really dynamic, determined in the second part. He climbed the second part better than the first part, of course, but here is again Zhang Yutong, and she's progressing at her pace, but she has got to this filter move, this difficult move, which she seemed to have read correctly. She's the first who gets to this move with the correct hand, the left hand. You see how she could grabbed the second hold, the hold next to it, and really her performance is pretty stunning. So great support for her, great loud cheers, which is good, which she deserves, of course. And there she is, that the top hold, which she grabs for a while. She really had a very fluid and continuous, peaceful progression. It looked like she was climbing a different route than the previous competitors because she was so constant, regular, consistent. And I bet she's happy. Really a great performance, and again the audience is very loud and in cheering her. Now an interview to Stefano. What about the route and your performance? Yes, it wasn't so bad. The first part I had really a great problem, and then as I went along I found my concentration, and at the top I was really exhausted because it's a very bouldery style, so you can't, you know, miss anything or get anything wrong. We know you often train here. Does this help? Yeah, I come here for training, and I wish to thank all the staff for giving me this unique opportunity of competing with the top athletes of the world. So really,
was it easy for you?
So.
Not so easy.
A little bit hard.
So how do you feel now? Were you pumped when you topped out?
A little bit for the top.
All the best in the next round. That was really strong, impressive. Congratulations. See you later.
Now, meanwhile, the next male athlete is on the wall, Marcello Bombardi, whom many of you might know because he has been in many World Cup competitions. And on the left, Maya Vidmar. Marcello has started off very peacefully, if you want, serene. He's very confident on every move. Rarely does he show he's tired, because he really dominates most holds, and he's done so in the past few years, where he actually got a victory in Chamonix last year in World Cup. And so I remember him at the European Championship, he got into finals. And so his progression over the past few years have been extraordinary, also because he's more confident in his means. He's always been a well-prepared athlete, but many times he was doubtful and affected by, you know, being in a competition. Now he's more confident, as I said, and as you can see, you know, he's climbing pretty safely, and he's trying to sort of manage, you know, all the aspects of the climb in a positive way. Meanwhile, Maya is progressing. She's going through the dihedral part before the more overhanging moves. She's done many years of World Cup competitions, but she still has a very high level on rock. She's progressing pretty at a steady pace, although, you know, a steady but controlled pace. And again, Marcello now is at a stage where he really has to find the right body position, push hard on his feet, try not to lose his feet, and that's very important, as you can see. And this is a very delicate moment. He really has to go very decided to the finger pocket. This is the most difficult and complicated part of the route, because you have very little in your hand, and it's a sloping finger hold, and so you have to be very strong in your body to go to that finger hole, and the movement must be done in a dynamic way. And here again we have Maya. Maya is continuing. Here we have a replay of Marcello. Marcello had found this foot jam, and you see he had to go more dynamic but very precise, and he had got to the hole, but while he had the finger in the hole, his foot jam just you know, slipped. And again, here is Maya. You see she's got the correct sequence, got that small hold, and that's a decisive movement or section in the women's route. Then she shakes out a little and continues, being pretty consistent in her climb. Now she's got to go very determined to the big hold with the right hand and then move to the top, but she's very relaxed. She doesn't look like she's a bit pumped. Oh, commentators curse. She tried to hold a small intermediate hold, and maybe the easiest thing to do here was to dyno up to the top hold, because the hold she tried is a very small one and slippery. Unfortunately, you know, she couldn't top this route. But, of course, still a very, very good competition. Marcello, so were you exhausted or were you surprised? I was a little pumped, I must admit, and I got there and didn't think there was such a difficult single move, but you know, I would have come down anyway soon, very soon, because I was pretty pumped. I'm sure you'll give us great emotions. Well done. So all the athletes must sign the poster, because
does it feel good to be doing a comp on a wall again?
Yeah, actually it was, I don't know what kind of fun. I enjoyed it and I liked the route. I thought it will be harder, but still I get pumped and I couldn't do the top.
Your experience as a comp climber definitely doesn't go away, so yeah, really nice to see you climbing and meeting you again in a competition, so see you later today.
Meanwhile, we have another athlete. I'm sure he needs no presentation. Jörg Verhoeven on the wall. He's just started. While on the blue route we have Laura Rogora, whom you might not know so much, although she's a real fighter. She's so small, so young, but she has climbed several 9As, and you know, so two athletes of great value. Of course, one more experienced. Now he's focused on bouldering and the mountains, so sure his training is not, you know, probably top, but I'm sure, you know, you'll enjoy his climb. And on the left we have Laura Rogora, the top Italian climber right now. As I said, she's young, incredibly talented, and we all hope she, you know, will continue climbing and at top results. Now here Jörg is in the central part of the route. I saw many athletes trying to shake out a little here to go to the next section in the route, but he really climbed the first part, the first section of the route without any difficulty, while Laura is a bit in trouble in the vertical wall, and of course she's so short that it's always hard for her to climb the slabby sections of the route. Now Jörg got to the section where Marcello Bombardi came off, but here we go back to Laura Rogora. Of course there's great cheers from the crowd. Jörg on the left is the only one who could overcome the section where Marcello Bombardi had fallen. He got the finger hole, and then, you know, great performance. While Laura is still fighting her way up, and I was talking to the route setters that were talking about AB plus for male, 8A plus for females, and Laura is still sort of working her way up. Of course, she's really stretched compared to other athletes because she's tiny, but she's very determined, as we all know. And she got to the difficult point but read it correctly. Now she's shaking out even here to then move into the more demanding section. I hope she won't have great problems. She might have problems on the volume. Let's see how she's gonna face it.
You've been able to give it your all in that route?
Yeah, I don't think I could have done much more. Where I fell, it felt very, very hard.
So satisfied?
Yeah, I think so. It was quite hard already at the bottom. I was surprised.
Yeah, looked not easy to figure out and to fight your way through, so well done.
Thank you very much.
Laura still on the wall. As we had predicted, she had some trouble in getting to the volume because of her, she's tiny, but she's so determined in getting to the final route. We'll see if she decides to go for a dyno. No, she got the small hold, but it's really a tiny hold, and now she's done it. She's on the top hold. Great performance from Laura. So we'll probably hear from her in a very short time. Laura's being lowered slowly so that she can enjoy the crowd cheering. See how young she is. This is Milano Climbing Expo 2019. The people who sort of are getting connected now. And we saw the replay of Laura getting to the top. She's very determined, as we said several times. And so I like that. I like her determination because she's new, she's young, but she really is deserved it, and we hope for the future, of course, as Italian team. Laura, you were the only one who held the smallest hold in the route. How did you find this route? Was it more pro, that is, for taller climbers? Some moves, more than morphologic, were a bit risky. You had to commit to them, and that was the difficulty in the route. Okay, so we saw you committed to many moves without hesitation, and congratulations and all the best for the next competitions to come. And now, two more climbers. Stefano Ghisolfi, and you certainly know him because he's been climbing in World Cup circuits. And he's the Italian athlete with more wins in Italian Lead World Cup. But he's also a great rock climber. Certainly we expect from him a top performance. We hope he can go as high up as possible. He's started as very confident, but also at a regular pace. On the other route we have Mina Markovic, and she definitely needs no presentation. We all learn to love her for her feats, for her achievements. She's part of the Slovenian school that lately is dominating the international scenario in the sort of world scene with Janja Gambrit and many others. And the Slovenian school is really one of the most important one in the world scene at present. Still Stefano on the central part of the wall. He's got to clip now, and he's got to really calibrate his energies here because it's a very pumpy route. This is very important. He found a place for a little shaking out. which is important because it also helps relaxing mentally, relaxing your mind. Maybe look at, you know, the rest of the route and start again. And here Mina doesn't seem to be in problems. She's got an endless experience in World Cup. She's won the World Cup for many years, and see how compared to Laura she's taller and can get to holds in a much more confident way. And now Stefano in the last section. This is very hard on biceps, so compression, flat hold, and this is the most important part, but unfortunately this here you have to be very determined. Maybe we'll see the replay. So he was okay, he looked okay, but then of course with all the weight on that small foothold, you're now in a very delicate position, and his left hand slipped, and so we couldn't see the top. That's route setter Gabriele Moroni's fault. And here is Stefano smiling. So really when we, you know, still look at Mina, and Mina has gone through that little point in the pyramid where you had to be very precise and go with the right hand and left hand to the two holds. Now there's a blackout on the monitor, we're sorry about it, and oh, here we have the pictures again, I'm sorry, and great cheers for Mina. It's incredible, she's holding this little hold on the left hand and got it. She gets a top hold, and she hesitated a little, but you know, hesitation doesn't stop Mina Markovic at all. And it really was a great performance. So Stefano, this is the interview to Stefano Ghisolfi. Many of you thought that move wasn't probably that difficult. Yeah, I thought, you know, I was a bit tired from the initial section, but I felt fairly good. So I was, you know, confident. It's my left hand that slipped, and I even hurt my fingers. Yeah, I think congratulations, you deserve congratulations, and we'll see you in the next round. Of course, we invite all the athletes to go and sign the wall. This is Milan Climbing Expo 2019.
Nice that you talked to Ruud. What did you find the hardest about the climb?
There were a few moves that you have to decide it because holds were good, but yeah, at the end they look the same good, but they just get more rounded or slopey than in the middle. So yeah, it was the hardest just to decide and to go for the moves, but it's nice to climb on this wall.
So you liked Ruud? Was nice after all, not that easy, but you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Even as last year, routes here are always perfect, and I love the wall and atmosphere, so it's glad to be here.
Hey, thank you, Mina. Wishing you the best for tonight.
Thank you.
we will now go for the boulder. In a minute we will move to the boulder comp, and so hear you in 10 minutes.